Hello, everyone, and welcome to our thinking point for today. Our thinking point for today is actually very much related to the last three videos we've had so far in this series. And it's a thought which is quite simple. It's simply phrased, but it might strike a sensitive nerve for many people, including myself. And our thought is the 9 to 5 is a scam. The 9 to 5 is a scam. Although many of us, including myself, might argue that it's a necessary scam. Think about it. The moment you sign your employment contract with your company, with the HR, from day one, you are already at a disadvantage. Because it's not you who's dictating how much you earn, for what kind of activities or jobs you do. And basically, you also don't have a say in how much work you have to do in order to get that certain amount of money. Essentially, in that job contract, everything is but dictated to you. And if you like it, or if you have no choice but to like it, then you simply have to swallow and accept the contents of that contract. It's simply a polite and non-physically violent way of saying that, hey, this company, we own you now. And because you signed this piece of paper over here, you agree to everything that's written in this contract and more. Which is why there's almost always often a clause in any job contract that the terms can change with minimal or sometimes even without prior notice, and that the tasks and activities expected of you as the employee are always flexible. The flexibility in the contract is actually the employer's or the company's leverage against you, so that even if it's not initially and originally written in the contract you signed, because there's a flexibility clause, you'll still have to end up doing that additional activity, that additional expectation, at the risk of losing your job. Just 2 days ago, one of my closest high school friends was laid off. It's a big multinational company. Of course, I can't say the brand name, but their primary products have always been personal computers, laptops, and printers. He was an assistant manager for information technology, and he got laid off. After 7 years, got laid off. And it's not an isolated case. In that particular company, layoffs have been going on for, well, at least according to my friend, for the past 2 years now. And a multitude of factors are always being cited. But one of the most prominent players is apparently the digitization of many tasks which were once man-based, and the increasing rise of artificial intelligence, AI, to automate many of the tasks which would preclude the use of humans anymore for these tasks. 7 years gone down the drain just like that. And that's an extreme example of why the 9 to 5 is a scam. But even if you're still in your particular company, in your particular organization, as a worker, as an employee, there are minute microaggressions in the workplace which point to why the 9 to 5 is a scam. Let's say there's an unwritten expectation, for example, at work, that you need to come earlier than the prescribed clock in time. And if you clock in on time, for example 8 a.m., even if technically that's the start of the workday, you'll be frowned upon simply because you didn't come earlier on time. That's a form of microaggression of the company, of the employer against the employee. Number 2 is this unwritten expectation that your work, your service for the company or for the employer takes precedence over all other aspects of your life. It should take precedence over your child's birthday party, for example, over your parents' golden wedding anniversary. I mean, who cares about that, right? That's not as important as the paperwork piling up in your desk. It's not as important as celebrating your wedding anniversary, your own wedding anniversary. Because hey, it's this job which is putting food on your table. Without this job, you won't be able to afford a wedding anniversary in the first place. And you see how late stage capitalism and the current workplace culture has in a way also brainwashed us into giving so much credence, often unrequited, and often too much reverence, worship, even obsession to working, to our jobs, when in fact we often fail to remember that working is just one minute fraction of who we are. It's not who we are, it's just a tiny, minuscule portion. Above all, we are also a child, a parent, a spouse. We're a human being, not a human doer. Above all, we are a human being, not an employee, not a worker. And many of us may rebut, of course, that, well, yeah, suppose that the 9 to 5 is indeed a scam, but so what? What do we do about it? I mean, we still have to go to work, we have to earn, we have to put food on the table using that scam. And I've thought about that for a long time, for the past 2 days now, and my answer to that is twofold. Firstly, not thinking about or not talking about something bad, not talking about an injustice, will not make the injustice go away. we're just sweeping it under the rug. But if we don't talk about it, it'll still be there. And secondly, and it's a point which I'd like to leave with all of us, maybe now, probably, there's very little, if at all, that we can do about it. But are we really entirely powerless? Is there really nothing we can do about our work being a scam, as being a one-sided thing? Are we really that entirely powerless? Or maybe not. Maybe we just think that it's a necessary scam that we have to swallow and digest for now. But all change has to start somewhere, right? Not all change has to happen overnight. Not everything has to be radical change. Sometimes, and perhaps most of the time, the most significant of changes happens step by step, happens gradually. And change always starts with an idea, with a thought. And talking about it has to start somewhere. So are we really that entirely powerless? Thank you very much, everyone, and I'll see you again sometime soon in the near future.